All right, so we are going to talk about absolute value functions today. And the first thing I want you to look at is the parent function. So the most basic one, is the one in red right here. And what does that look like?
Like a V.
It looks like a V. All right, now you may be wondering, why am I including this in this unit, which we've been talking about linear functions? Okay. And the reason is because these pieces of the V, they connect at this point, which is called a vertex. So if you imagine from the vertex extending out, each of those pieces of the V is a what?
A point?
No.
Part of the V?
Each of these pieces of the V is a line. All right, so it's really two lines connected at a point called the vertex. All right, so that's why it's included in this section, which is about linear functions, so graphic lines. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to plot this parent function, and then we're going to move it around. Now, we talked about this last week, I believe, maybe the week before. We talked about doing these movements up, down, left, and right. So we'll be doing that again, but this time with absolute value functions as opposed to just lines. And then we are eventually going to talk about reflections again. All right, so those will be a little bit more challenging, but hopefully you'll get those. So let's start with this example. In my last class, somebody pointed out that the copier messed up your graph for this one.
Oh.
It's kind of like funky. So if you look below it, there's like a blank one. You can just use that one if you'd like. Okay. So in black, I'm going to put the original. So this one here. So what's my vertex? 0, 0, the origin. Now I need to draw my V. So I need two lines. So how am I going to draw my two lines?
Two up, and then one to the left.
Why did you say two?
I mean, two down.
No, you're looking at this. I'm not there yet. I'm just doing this one. Very good. I go up one and right one. This has a slope of positive 1. What about my other piece of the V? Up 1, left 1. And what slope is that? If I go up and left, it's a negative, so this is a negative 1 slope. And there's our V. Is everybody okay with the parent function? All right, so this is the basic one. Now we're going to move it. All right, I'm going to use red to move it 2 units down. 2 units down. So what am I going to do to every single point on that function? Go down 2. So each of these goes down 2. Now once you get done drawing it, you should see that there's no difference. It's still the same V, it's just been moved. So in this case, 2 units down. What's the new vertex? What's the new vertex? Very good, Deanna. You need to say 0, negative 2. 0, negative 2. That's the new vertex. Now, that's all well and good, but when you guys are doing this work for me, I want to see the new equation. All right, right now we're here with the black one, and I've moved it 2 down for the red one, and I want to know what's the new equation for that one in red. Well, it says down, so down and up would be what direction? Would be vertical. All right, and if you go back a slide and you look at the vertical translations, we're always going to do that on the outside or after the function. All right, so I'm going to go after the absolute value of x, and I'm going to write what? Very good. Minus 2. Because it says to take that absolute value of x and do what with it? Move it 2 units down. Okay? That's it. So if it's vertical, then it's going to be after the absolute value. So what if that would have been 2 units up? This would have been plus 2. Make sure it's still outside the absolute value after it. Everybody okay? going to use blue for the next one. Now I'm going to go back to the original one. The one in black is my original. Back to the original. And I want to move that 4 units to the left. So everything gets moved 4 units left. Now it should look the same. You're going to see it looks a little different because I just run out of room here when drawing my V. But I just ran out of room. Again, you should be able to sketch this. But ultimately, I want to know what is the new equation for the one in blue. Now that's the new vertex, Matthew. The new vertex is negative 4, 0, but I want to write the new equation. Now before I get some answers, I just again want to point you to the previous slide and look what it says for horizontal, because this is left and right, so horizontal. What does this look like?
Minus.
It says minus, not plus like that one, and it's inside the parentheses. So where do you think this one is going to be? Inside the absolute value. Because I don't have parentheses, I have absolute value. Okay? So watch how I do this. You write the absolute value of x minus, and what is 4 to the left? What number do you use for 4 to the left? Negative 4. Well, we're never going to leave it like that, because that says subtracting a negative. So it becomes plus 4. Okay? So on your paper right now, you should write down this phrase. Think opposite for inside absolute value. Because if you do this problem, I just told you to do this problem, what do you think students write for the answer for 4 units left? What do they write? Well, I mean, that makes sense, right? Because you're thinking left is negative, so I should write minus. But I just showed you because it is subtraction already, when you subtract a negative, it becomes addition. So you need to think opposite. So if that said 4 to the right, it'd be x minus 4 inside the absolute value. Okay, so write that down if you haven't. Think opposite for inside absolute value. Think opposite for inside the absolute value. Any questions on moving it up, down, left, and right? Yeah, everybody okay? Now, if you go back a slide again, at the very bottom here, it reminds you about what to do when you have reflections. Okay? So you're going to use this to help you at your boards. Again, use this slide, maybe put a star next to it. Use this slide to help you when you do numbers 3 and 4 at your boards. Any questions? Begin.